Hello. I'm back in Melbourne. I'm back home. Paddy and I, my son, have just been on an amazing, spontaneous road trip. And I, as I do each episode, had some amazing insights that I wanted to share and stories. So, something I really noticed on this trip, and I'm conscious of it more and more in life as well. Actually, I'm just conscious of it in life. I'm removing them more and more because it's present here and now. So I'm becoming, I just did it again. Isn't it funny? It's such a habit. I am aware of when life is in flow and when I'm pushing. And I notice that when I allow life to flow, things happen that I hadn't imagined possible. And the difference between flow and pushing for me is that flow is easy. I'm relaxed and things just unfold. Pushing, on the other hand, I normally feel it in my body. I feel tense and actually normally around my stomach. And I feel myself really pushing for something, for some outcome, or to do something in particular. And I suppose I have a preference. My preference in life is for life just to flow and for there not to be a push. And I know in the past that I've really tapped into this idea that life's hard and you have to strive and push to get anywhere. But what I'm realizing more and more is actually life is easy if we choose it to be. And it's a choice. And the story I want to tell is about the spontaneous trip we just went on. Basically, one night, I've been waiting to go away. I've been wanting to go away really since June, but things have been happening in my life and it hasn't felt like it's been the time. But about 3 weeks ago, I said to my husband, I might book a flight and go up and see your mum, my mother-in-law, and a girlfriend in northern New South Wales, and a cousin who lives up that way too. So I thought, I will fly into Brisbane and fly back again. And I got on and booked all the flights, and just as I pressed the pay button, the page crashed. And I was like, oh, you know that process where you have to put in all your details, and I had to put in all of Paddy's details. And when it crashed, I was like, oh, it felt to put the details in again was going to be a push. So I thought, no, I'm going to leave it. I'll do it tomorrow. And I'm so glad I didn't push, because I went to bed that night, and halfway through the night, I woke up and I had this idea. I thought, I'm not going to fly to Brisbane. I'm going to drive our car to Brisbane. And that was possible because my husband had said to me a couple of months earlier he really wanted to give our car to his mum because we needed a new car and she needed to shift from a manual to an automatic. And he'd said it to me and we hadn't spoken about it again, but I woke up that night and I was like, wow, we can drive our car up to Queensland. And I came out of the bedroom because my husband was still up, and I said, babe, how about Paddy and I drive the car to Queensland? And his initial response was, oh, no, you can't do that. It's a long way. And anyway, I let it go and I went to bed. And the next day he was like, that might work. And we left it because I wasn't feeling that great. So I said, let's leave it and we'll make a decision once my energy levels are back. So I think it was the Monday. We decided we were going to, it was a good idea. My husband's like, yeah, it's a great idea. You can do it. And I rang my mother-in-law And I said, hey, we're going to drive up instead of fly up. And her initial reaction was like, oh, no, I don't want your car, don't drive up. And funnily enough, I said, oh, okay. And I wasn't attached to it. I was like, okay, I'll book the flights. So I hopped off the phone from here and jumped online and booked the flights. The next morning, which is the Tuesday morning, I get a call from her saying, actually, I'd like the car. Oh. And I was like, oh, okay. Actually, no, I had a reaction to begin with. Oh, gosh, it was funny. I had a reaction to begin with, and I said to her, okay, Ursh, I've actually just booked the flights. I'm really in the mindset that we're flying up. Just let me process that you now want us to drive up. So I said, I'll give you a call later in the day. And she had triggered anger in me, and I was angry. And but I sat with that, and it moved through, and I rang her later in the day, and I said, sure, we're happy to drive up, and we'll just move the flights. So we moved them to July. And funnily enough, when I rang and said to her, look, we'll fly up, we'll drive up, she goes, what? You're going to drive up? I wish you'd stop changing your mind. Which was awesome. Oh my God, it made me laugh so much. Because here I was thinking, my rational mind was, just a minute, wait, you're the one that changed their mind. But I realised that she was really reflecting myself back at me, because even when she said she didn't want the car, there was a part of me that was like, oh, I actually really wanted to drive up, but was giving her the power. Anyway, so the next day we left, and we had the most amazing trip. I must say, was a bit nervous about travelling with a 2-year-old. But as I said to a friend, the key was just to treat him like a person. And if he needed something, I would meet his need, as I would meet my own need as it arose. And, it was amazing. It was amazing. It was amazing. I could go into the details of it, but, we stayed with friends I hadn't seen for or spent proper time with in 20 years, and cousins I hadn't spent time with either. And cousins that had just come back from overseas, and we happened to be in the same town. And we got to see our favourite band together, Bunny Racket, which is a kids rock and roll band that my cousin's husband does. It's amazing. And we went to an art exhibition, a friend's art exhibition in Sydney that I'd wanted to go to, but had kind of let go of, not thinking I'd ever be in Sydney. There we were. It just unfolded beautifully. It unfolded beautifully. And I had another example of flow and push from the trip. We arrived in this town, and as we drove in, it was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I didn't organise any accommodation before the day. And we drove into this town, and I thought it'd be nice to actually stop a bit earlier today, because the previous night we'd arrived into a town and we'd found accommodation. We'd got in at about 5:30, and I thought it'd be nice to stop earlier. So we drove into this town and came across this river, and it was beautiful, and I was like, wow. And there was this gorgeous little caravan park. And I thought, oh, this could be nice. And I drove in and I drove around it, and it was right on this river, and I could see the ocean was just 100 metres further. And I thought, it was a really nice spot. It was a really nice spot. And we drove around the caravan park, and I thought, okay, this would be nice. So I went into the office and I rang the doorbell, and no one came. And I sat for a little bit, and I thought, oh, this is interesting. It's not flowing. So for me, flow would have been driven around the car park, we'd come in, I'd press the button and someone would have come immediately. Or I wouldn't even have had to have pressed the button. I would have just walked straight into the office and we would have organised it. That is flow to me. Whereas here, I was standing waiting, and I was like, this is interesting. And I thought, I'm not going to push it. So I left. And there was actually this great little park literally 10 metres down the road. So I thought I'll pull into this park and Paddy can have a play. And we were there for ages. He was loving the park. And I met these other mums there. And I said to them, oh, you know, I just checked out that caravan park, but no one was in the office. And they said, there's another awesome caravan park that's just up the road. And I was like, really? And they said, yeah, it's got amazing facilities for kids. You'll really love it. And I'm like, it's better than this one? Like, this is pretty nice. Like, the views, they're like, it is so much better. And I was like, wow. And I thought, how perfect is this? Like, I didn't push with the other one, and all of a sudden I'm being presented with a better option. Well, not better, but different. And more aligned with my preference. So eventually I convinced Paddy to leave this park. And, anyway, there's a whole nother story about the caravan park that actually I'll do the next episode on. But we went to this caravan park, and it was, as the girl said, it was amazing. It was amazing. It had this amazing water park for Paddy. And literally we're in the reception booking in, and he is squealing and pointing with excitement. And it had one of those big balloons. And then for me, there was this amazing restaurant attached to it. And it had views over the ocean and the inlet into the creek. And it was like, oh my God. If I had pushed in this instance, you know, with the first part of the story, if I'd pushed, I probably would have booked the tickets, not even thought about the possibility of driving up, and missed out on this amazing adventure we had. And then in this instance, if I had kind of waited around or rung the office at the first caravan park, I would have missed this amazing place that we ended up at. So I invite you just to be conscious of how life is flowing for you, and being conscious of when you're pushing as opposed to when life flows. And maybe try going with the flow, or not, it's up to you. Oh, yeah. Thanks for listening. Okay. Bye.